Hey everyone, it's Jeannie, and today I'm back to share another card with you. I'm using Trinity Stamps Dust Bunny stamp set to create a fun card with hidden movement. So I had seen the set and I really love any stamp images that include like furniture or anything that creates a scene building card. And if you follow this channel, I do like doing a lot of scene cards, but I also do like interactive cards. And so this bed was perfect for a scene card, and the whole stamp set generally is very unique to me. I haven't seen anything similar to this portraying dust bunnies, which is super adorable. And so I wanted to include some hidden movement. So I'm just going to go ahead and create my little scene. I want to put the bed, of course, in the bedroom. So I'm building out the little bedroom set by adding the little wall molding and then creating a window. So I do this with pencil first, just to outline what I need, and then I'll go in with a Copic friendly marker and line it up with the black ink. So I use pencil a lot and I remember to erase it because when you color Copics over pencil, it kind of leaves that sheen. And if you're using a light Copic marker, that pencil will show through. So make sure you use an eraser to erase anything before you go ahead and color. I am also stamping out these little dusters and they're little birds, so it's super cute. So I stamped them on a separate piece of paper because I'll be using them for the hidden movement later. So I'm going to quickly color everything in, and I think that this scene is just super adorable. I wanted to use those little dusters to kind of clean the little bed and the window and the floor. So you'll see that later. The bed already has some wood grain patterns on it, and so I didn't really need to do that. I just colored it in using that wood grain pattern. For the the floorboard portion, I add a little bit of the same pattern just by creating squiggly lines. I've done this quite a few times before. I think it really adds a little bit of texture and makes it look more homey. And so I'll do that for that little floor molding and then also the window. So I'm keeping the colors kind of light but sort of similar, and I tend to pick the same colors and use them throughout the card just so it looks cohesive. When I started card making, I would kind of color randomly and try to put together a card, and then I realized the colors just don't go together. I'm not great at picking colors for my cards usually, but I've learned that if I incorporate the same colors in various items throughout the card, it helps it with the cohesiveness, and I think that it just flows together nicely. So I wanted to do kind of like a light pink background, and that was my original plan. It didn't work out that way. So I do use a lot of pink elements just to stand out on the bed, and I think that that really is cute because one, pink is my favorite color, and two, it's just a nice pop of color because the dust bunnies will be black. Or the dust bunny is actually gray, and then the little dusters will actually be black. So I wanted a pop of color, and I normally have a go-to pink Copic combo, which is R81, R83, and R85. You'll see that I use that very often. For the bed sheet itself, I kind of wanted white because it just goes with everything, and so I'm just using the cool grays to add a bit of shadowing. And although it looks gray, later on it'll just look white with the pillows and the blanket adding a little shadow to it. So I really like doing that for when I don't know what color would go with another color. And because it's a bedroom set, I figured that I was going to color the floor and the wall. And so I didn't want too much of a clash of colors. For the floor, I just go with the same Copic colors. So it's a little light beige brownish, and it kind of looks like hardwood floors but without the lines and stuff, and I really didn't want to put too much focus on the floor because the dusters are going to be the cute element of this card. For the window, I'm doing the same wood grain pattern. So I'm trying to keep the same colors throughout the card, and the bed, the floor, the window, they're all the same browns. So it's in the E family, which I tend to use for all my wood coloring, and it works really well. And the darker version is on the bed, and the lighter version's like on the floor. But you can see that they don't clash and they can stand out against each other. So I really like that. I have bought a lot of Copic markers. My friends actually went to Japan and she picked up a ton of them for cheap. And so I went a little crazy, and then when she gave them to me, I realized that although I have all these extra colors, the only ones that I tend to use are ones that go together. So you definitely don't need all the Copic markers, and you can pick ones that just are in your color range, and you can venture outside as you grow your collection, but you definitely don't need every single color. So for the blue, I'm using it for the outside sky. And of course, I want this to be nighttime. So I'm going with a few darker blue colors. And I took a bit of time to blend it, but it worked out in the end. And I'm going to add a little bit of texture by using a white Jelly Roll pen to create stars outside. And I think that really helps add the effect. It also kind of looks like snow. I can't really decide, but I think you guys get the point. It's nighttime and there's stars outside, so I think it works well. So sometimes I do go in a couple times just to blend it out, especially because the Copic colors, when you're using the lighter colors, it kind of picks up the darker colors, and I wanted it to look a little bit darker, so I went back in to blend that out. For the wall, I really wanted a light color that didn't conflict with everything else that I have going on. So I went with a very, very light aqua color, and you can barely see it on the card. It shows up, but barely. And see, now that bed looks white. So all the shading for the bed works out perfectly. So I have the dusters that I'm going to color up. I do stamp out 4 of them. I end up only using 3 of them because the card has a lot going on already, and I don't really need that many. I also have realized I like even number of items. So if I'm using like jewels, embellishments, little decorative items, I like to get even numbers of them. I don't know why. It just ends up looking better. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have an opinion or not, but for me, I just tend to do that. So I'm coloring all 4 because while I have the markers out, I might as well, and I'll just save that little duster for something later on. And I'm just going in and shading it and creating a little bit of contrast. Anytime I use the grays, I try not to go too dark, especially if they have like eyes and a face, because it gets so dark that you can't even see it. So I went with a few of the lighter colors and kept the shading to the outside. And I don't know, I should have gone with a different color, but I really didn't want anything to contrast with the pink that I have. So once I finish coloring, I go ahead and use the coordinating dies to cut those out. I'll put those aside and I'll go in and add a little texture. So I'm adding the stars with the white jelly pen, and I'll also add a little bit of texture to the bed. So I have these Tombow twin tone markers with the fine tip, so I go in and add a few stripes. It just looked a little plain because I don't have anything on the wall and I don't have anything on the floor. That I just wanted to add a little bit of pattern to the card. After I added that pattern, I kind of wanted to add a little bit of dimension to the bed so it looks like that pillow is laying across and you can kind of see. So I add a little bit of gray, just a line across so it looks like a bed. And planning out my sentiments, which I probably should have done earlier, but I didn't really think about it, and so I wanted to use the dust for you because anyone loves a pun. So for the hidden movement, it's really, really simple. I found a very small circle die that fits right behind that duster. And I'm going to cut out those 3 holes for where the dusters will be. And this hidden movement is something that I've used in a card before. It's super simple. I have also 3 small circle die cuts that are bigger than the hole that's on the card. I'm using, I think, a small or medium-sized glue dot, putting it on the little die cut and putting the duster right on top, and it's able to move because it has that hole to move the duster back and forth. So put the glue dot on the duster and the die cut, and it just allows it to move. And so it's a super simple interactive card. And I remember looking at one of the previous cards that I had done using this technique, and I forgot that it had an interactive element because it doesn't require you to add too much dimension to the card. I tend to either put like just one layer of foam, and that's all you need. And I think even if you didn't put foam, as long as you're not putting adhesive right on where that backing is, it should be fine. So I'm going to just go ahead and add that sentiment and color it in with a coordinating pink. And that's my card. I just add the foam and make sure that the foam doesn't get in the way of the little small circles on the back, and it moves perfectly. It's a very simple card and it adds a fun element to it. And I think this is so cute because the movement shows the little dusters kind of dusting the floor, dusting the bed, dusting the window, and it's just a little bit fun. This stamp set to me is one of my more unique stamp sets that I have, and I haven't seen anything similar to this, so I'm really excited to play with this. And I love that bed. We can use it for a lot of other scenes later on as well. So once I add the foam tape, I'm just going to go put it on a card base, and my card is done. It's a fun, simple, interactive element that you can add to the card. And it just looks like it's cleaning, and it's super cute. So I hope you enjoyed this card, and I hope you try this out because it's so easy. You don't need anything else besides a basic, simple circle die, and that's it. So I'll see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day. Bye.